How do you say goodbye to a living pope? That question has not come up in 600 years. So Benedict XVI's historic farewell celebration in Rome today brought predictably massive crowds. And topic A on many of those minds, the unpredictable selection of the man who will replace him. There among the faithful in Vatican City, my co-anchor Terry Moran with the latest. Terry?
Bill, what a day it was here. Unprecedented, full of ritual and mystery, symbolism, the high pomp and ceremony that the Roman Catholic Church uses to speak to the world. And it was something else, too. It was more personal, intimate, emotional at times, and at times something very different for this church, new.
St. Peter's Basilica shone in all its Renaissance splendor in the Roman sunlight. But in the nearly 400 years Michelangelo's great dome has towered over this city, nothing like today had ever happened here. The cardinals gathered in the Sala Clementina of the Apostolic Palace, the hall where the bodies of popes are first laid after death. But this was a living farewell. He entered slowly, an old man ready to lay down the burden of the papacy. Benedict XVI bidding goodbye to the princes of the church. Cardinal Angelo Sodano, Dean of the College of Cardinals, addressed the pontiff.
Holy Father, with profound love, we've always tried to accompany you in your path.
This was personal for them all, a kind of trauma, a kind of tribute. These are his men. He chose most of them, and all swore obedience to him. One will succeed him. And mindful perhaps of the intrigues already swirling in the Vatican, Benedict urged them all to be like an orchestra, working together in harmony. He offered one final apostolic blessing.
Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
Then, one by one, each came forward for a personal farewell, a few words, a laugh, a last handshake. Among them, American Cardinal Donald Wuerl of Washington, D.C.
It was as if he was saying, this isn't about me. This is all about the church moving forward. It was beautiful.
The farewells ended. Soon it would be time to go. The entire staff of the papal household gathered in the San Damaso courtyard. The Swiss guards stood by. And a final papal tweet. Thank you for your love and support. May you always experience the joy that comes from putting Christ at the center of your lives. Then Benedict walked out. He left that palace and all it represents behind. A short drive to the waiting chopper. While across Rome, the faithful offered their own goodbyes in St. Peter's Square, on nearby rooftops. And then, as the chopper lifted into the evening sky, the bells of Rome rang out. But then one last, long, swooping tour over the eternal city. On the roof of the North American College, Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York and the young American seminarians waved goodbye. At Castel Gandolfo, the Pope's summer residence, the locals, his last crowd, waited. And one more time, Pope Benedict XVI, Vicar of Christ, stepped out onto a balcony to speak to the faithful.
Now I'm just a pilgrim starting the last leg of his earthly journey.
Grazie, buonanotte.
He thanked them with a smile that seemed tinged with relief. They didn't want to let him go.
One of the things that struck me was the serenity. There was never a moment when he seemed not at peace.
At the stroke of 8 o'clock tonight in Rome, the moment the Pope's resignation took effect, the Swiss guards stood down, closed the great doors of Castel Gandolfo, and departed. There is no Pope here anymore. Just a man.
He'll be known as His Holiness Benedict XVI, Pope Emeritus, and he's going to live in a monastery just behind St. Peter's there in the Vatican. He has said he will dedicate himself in solitude to a life of prayer. So what happens next? Well, the cardinals who have gathered in Rome are now going to meet informally for about a week. Then they will decide on a date where they will go into the Sistine Chapel in conclave, lock the door behind them, and begin to choose the next pope.